Oh, statement for Celtic. Rodgers leaves. Holy yeah. Holy Martin O'Neill. Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney. Holy Right, everyone, this is a bit of an intro because we're going to do the proper video in a second, but I wanted to give you our live reaction because Stevie, we're literally just about to record here. We've got a whole show planned. We've seen a report from the Scotsman saying that Brendan Rodgers is going to leave Celtic and we're going to bring Martin O'Neill in, and we have literally, in the last minute, don't know if you can see that, well, it says 2 minutes ago now, had a statement from Celtic. I'm just going to read this out, Stevie. Then you'll get your immediate reaction. Celtic Football Club can confirm that football manager Brendan Rodgers has today tendered his resignation. It has been accepted by the club and Brendan will leave his role with immediate effect. The club appreciates Brendan's contribution to Celtic during his 2 very successful periods at the club. Brendan leaves Celtic with our thanks for the role he has played during a period of continued success for the club, and we wish him further success in the future. The process to appoint a new permanent manager is underway, and the club will update supporters further on this as soon as possible. We are pleased that during this interim period, former Celtic manager Martin O'Neill and former Celtic player Sean Maloney have agreed to take charge of Celtic first team matters. Further details will be confirmed shortly. What the hell?
I have spent the majority of the 2 minutes you've been talking on the phone. I mean, this all started when we were about to actually prep for a completely different type of podcast. I'm in complete shock. I didn't think Celtic would act. I didn't think it would happen. I'm in shock for a few reasons. One,
well, Celtic haven't acted, have they? It's Rodgers that's tendered his resignation.
That's obviously happened, but it's more the fact that who we've brought in on an interim basis as well. I completely shocked. I didn't expect this at all. I thought we were going to go into this game against Falkirk carrying on this charade of Rodgers looking uninterested and the players just no caring either. But we're now getting into this game against Falkirk with a completely different mindset and everything now. That's mad.
Right, we're going to gather our thoughts for a little bit because fair to say the show we had planned isn't going to be happening. It's going to be a very different show we're doing now. So we're going to take a few minutes, gather our thoughts, and we'll be back. Right, everyone, we're back. We've composed ourselves ever so slightly. Still don't have much of a plan for today's video, but yeah, the headlines are that Brendan Rodgers is no longer the Celtic manager. He has resigned, say the club. We're going to have an interim manager. Martin O'Neill is going to be the interim boss. Sean Maloney, I think, is going to be assistant. And the club say further details will be confirmed on that shortly. So they'll be in charge for Wednesday night's game against Falkirk. The club also say the process to appoint a new permanent manager is underway, and the club will update supporters further on this as soon as possible. So again, we're awaiting something from the club, more information, but it doesn't seem like it's Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney for particularly long. The club are looking to appoint a permanent first team manager. Yeah, wild stuff. Stevie did not see it coming. I think we'll kind of take this in the various stages. And, well, first of all, sorry, I need to thank Practical CBT for sponsoring today's show. They are your route to great mental health. So a big thanks to them. Also, just to take advantage of everything at the moment, we're like 70 subscribers away from 18,000. So I know there's like over 40% of you watching who aren't subscribed. Go on, click that button and be here for the Ange Postecoglou journey. Do you like that one, Stevie? Do you like that one? We're getting that in early. Let's tackle the Brendan Rodgers stuff. So Brendan Rodgers has resigned as manager of Celtic, which in itself is like really surprising, I think, given what he's been saying recently. What's your kind of immediate thoughts on that and how you feel about it?
Totally stunned. The timeline came because about an hour ago, my mate Sean messaged me saying that he heard tonight Rodgers is going to be away. Now, he had a fairly solid source on this, and I can back it up if you ever do want to see the text messages. But I thought, I had to get duped because somebody sent me something saying a good guy Dom saying that he got a source that Rodgers was signing on for a year with Celtic. So already there was mixed messages, and then about 20 minutes ago, our good pal Niall sent in a link from the Scotsman saying that Brendan Rodgers was on the verge of an exit. I thought, again, this is AI, this is a wind-up. Having checked it, it all looked legit. I said to you as we were about to record, as we prepped to tackle people's comments, I said to you, look, did you see the chat? Look at the statement. You had a look, and you're like, you saw the Scotsman thing, and then within 2 minutes, Celtic statement, you got it through, and I had to learn through you that Rodgers had stepped down, and he's no longer the manager of Celtic. So, again, totally stunned. Didn't see it coming. I thought we were going to carry on doing this dance. It was going nowhere. I thought we were going to go into this game on Wednesday again with the manager completely uninterested, the players just getting mismanaged, and a complete apathy around the club. So much so that I was considering not even going. I'm now going on Wednesday because already with that news, it feels like we've immediately done something. We've freshened, the club have been freshened up already. The staleness is away. Just like, there's a symptom of it's obviously away. But the general problem is, of course, with those above Brendan Rodgers. So it's not a case of the board doing something amazing. They're off the hook. Like, we already know who has caused a lot of the problems this season, and certainly who was responsible for a lot of what we saw on Sunday as well. But yeah, it couldn't carry on. I think he did the right thing, stepping down, because the relationship between the fans and the managerial staff at this point, particularly Brendan Rodgers, it was just like a serious low point, wasn't it? It was verging into that poisonous territory, Hamish, and it's no good when it gets to that point. It was apathetic for a long time, and a lot of people were directing their anger at the likes of Dermot Desmond, Nicholson, Mackay, and Lawwell, but gradually we've seen Brendan Rodgers was copping it, and I think he's done the right thing before that game on Sunday, because already a lot of people were nervous about it and thinking, like, if Brendan Rodgers lost that one, his reputation would have taken a total hammering. And it now, getting into that game without Brendan Rodgers managing that side, just feels like it will give everybody a slight lift. It doesn't make everything all better. Things are still terrible, but there's a slight lift.
I'm just thinking, like, when you're talking, his first interview he gives is going to be so interesting. Because I think it's a shock, because like everything he's been saying publicly about being like as motivated or more motivated than he's ever been, and absolutely determined to get this right and turn it round, and then he resigns again with these things. Like, hopefully you watching this realise this, how fresh this all is, and it's kind of hard to properly get how you feel. My kind of immediate thought is good on him, really. And it probably is going to have salvaged his reputation in my mind, because I think the way we were heading with Brendan Rodgers as our manager was for a catastrophic failure this season. I don't think we were going to win the league with Brendan Rodgers as our manager. I actually don't think we were going to win on Sunday either. I know I said yesterday a 50-50 game, but I just think things were badly falling off, and not all of that is Brendan Rodgers' fault. I think we need to make it clear that, for me, that the board have shafted Brendan Rodgers here with the transfer business and the keeping, some players on, and the board have caused this feeling around the club, and I think they are responsible for the vast majority of what we've seen so far this season. But the point I was actually going to make in our original show that you obviously never get to hear now, was that, how do we change this quickly? And for me, the best option was a change of manager, and I didn't feel that the club were likely to act on that, and obviously Brendan Rodgers has acted. So yeah, my overall feeling is, what a brilliant manager for Celtic overall over the two spells, right up there with the best managers we've ever had. And personally, he's gone up in my estimations. The fact that he's kind of decided this was time to walk away, and you can have your own thoughts on whether Brendan Rodgers, who he was in it for, himself or Celtic or whatever, but I think it gives us a fighting chance this season. Clearly, all of the issues we have at the club are still there, but I think Brendan Rodgers being there would have been a shield for those in the boardroom, and I think now, the criticism can be aimed more at them. Obviously, we'll see how this goes, but yeah, that first interview he gives is going to be interesting. I believe, and as I say, we're recording now. I believe there's more to come from Celtic tonight, from what I'm hearing, Stevie. There's possibly going to be something from Dermot Desmond. So we'll let you know if that comes out while we're live on air. But what's your kind of immediate thoughts on the Brendan Rodgers legacy? I know it's incredibly early, but over the two spells, some amount of trophies won, and overall a good second stint at the club as well.
Yeah, I think will be remembered fondly despite this season, of course. And when you look at his trophy haul, you have to say it is impressive over those two spells. I think, of course, history will be kind on it. It will be on his side, I would say, and it will be kind to him, especially with the fact that he has decided to step away rather than being stubborn about this. And there's no hiding place now for the likes of Mackay, Nicholson, Lowell, and the rest of them on the board. But I would say, see if he'd done this, see if he'd actually left right after that summer transfer window. Can you imagine how positive things would have been, like, about the overall feeling among the support after that? Like, the way he gets shafted after that Kaira Almaty game, even get into it, then refusing to get the funds to get a striker in. And then after it, the fact that, we only brought in a couple of players, and again, no striker, we had to look for a free transfer in Iheanacho. Let's see it, and then even after that statement that was released on that Saturday with a hit piece on him in that Sun, let's see if he'd left after that. Fans would have been right on his side, going, "Don't blame you, Brendan. You know what? You said you were going to be here for 3 years, but you've been stitched up."
Here's the quote, by the way, Steve. Okay. No, just the quote you're reading out there, because I'm just looking at it. It says, "This is Brendan when he joined. I've signed for 3 years, and I guarantee I'll be here for 3 years unless I get emptied before that, as they say up here." So, interesting.
Look,
think, but it shows how bad things must have gone for Brendan to resign. But as I say, I felt he would kind of stick it out because he'd said that. So things must have been bad. Do you think something bad has happened since Sunday? And the other thing I just want to throw in, what's happening with John Kennedy? Because we're hearing that Maloney and O'Neill, does that mean Kennedy's away as well? Or hi everyone, it's Hamish. Just in the post production, just on the John Kennedy stuff, because this came out a little bit after us recording. So, as being reported by certainly the Sun and a few other outlets, I think as well, that John Kennedy has left Celtic with Brendan Rodgers. Also leaving the club are first team coaches Adam Sadler. I was going to do a wee Happy Gilmore gag, but I've not even got time for that today. Too much happening, too serious. He's away. Jack Lyons is gone, as has fitness guru Glenn Driscoll. So yeah, quite telling, I would say. Interesting, it wasn't mentioned at all in Celtic's statement. But yeah, that's the situation. John Kennedy leaving us after 27 years.
I've just got a message. Hold on. Message. Oh, there's a Dermot Desmond statement out.
Right, it's pretty lengthy, so I'll do it quickly, everyone. Right, this is a statement from Dermot Desmond to Celtic supporters. Brendan Rodgers has today tendered his resignation as manager of Celtic Football Club. I want to acknowledge Brendan's contribution across his two spells as manager, during which he helped deliver success that forms part of the club's modern history. However, I must also express my deep disappointment at the way the past several months have unfolded. When we brought Brendan back to Celtic 2 years ago, it was done with complete trust and belief in his ability to lead the club into a new era of sustained success. Unfortunately, his conduct and communication in recent months have not reflected that trust. In June, both Michael Nicholson and I expressed to Brendan that we were keen to offer him a contract extension to reaffirm the club's full backing and long-term commitment to him. He said he would need to think about it and revert, yet in subsequent press conferences, Brendan implied that the club had made no commitment to offer him a contract. That was simply untrue. We met with Brendan regularly, including in December last year and at the start of the summer, with regular dialogue in between to discuss and agree our collective strategy, priorities and approach. Every player signed and every player sold during his tenure was done so with Brendan's full knowledge, approval and endorsement. Any insinuation otherwise is absolutely false. This is a hit piece on Brendan Rodgers. His later public statements about transfers and club operations came entirely out of the blue. At no point prior to those remarks had he raised any such concerns with me, Mike, or any member of the board or executive team. In reality, he was given final say over all football matters and was consistently backed in the recruitment process, including record investment in players he personally identified and improved. When his comments were made publicly, I sought to address him directly. Brendan and I met for over 3 hours at his home in Scotland to discuss the issue. Despite ample opportunity, he was unable to identify a single instance where the club had obstructed or failed to support him. The facts did not match his public narrative. Regrettably, his words and actions since then have been divisive, misleading and self-serving. This is ridiculous. This is an official club statement. They have contributed to a toxic atmosphere around the club and fueled hostility towards members of the executive team and the board. Some of the abuse directed at them and at their families has been entirely unwarranted and unacceptable. Every member of the board and executive team is deeply passionate about Celtic and acts at all times with professionalism, integrity and a shared desire for success. What has failed recently was not due to our structure or model, but to one individual's desire for self-preservation at the expense of others. Celtic's structure, where the manager oversees football, the chief executive manages operations and the board provides oversight, has served the club with great success for more than 2 decades. We all share the same ambition to ensure Celtic's continued success domestically and to achieve further progress in Europe. Every pound generated by the club is reinvested towards those goals. And the continuous improvement of Celtic Football Club. Celtic is greater than any one person. Our focus now is on restoring harmony, strengthening the squad and continuing to build a club worthy of its values, traditions and supporters. That's honestly mad. That might be the maddest thing I've ever seen from Celtic. And my first initial thought is Brendan Rodgers hasn't resigned. Brendan Rodgers has been told, we're going to put it out as you resigning to maybe save some sort of face here, because that initially when I thought Brendan Rodgers has resigned, we just said it didn't tie in with what he's been saying recently. And given all that's happened there and that hit piece, I mean, some of the recently his words and actions have been divisive, misleading and self-serving. They have contributed to a toxic atmosphere around the club.
It's crazy that he's coming out with that. There's something's definitely been off with him. And reading through that, it now gets me thinking that that Nottingham Forest owner may not be the most insane.
Genuinely though, like that, it's mad that that's coming out. That's not an interview. That would have been bad enough if Dermot Desmond had done that as an interview with someone. I know he's distrustful of the media, but that's going out on an official club channel. We don't hear from them in months, and then we get this, and it's blamed Brendan Rodgers for everything that's gone wrong at the club in recent times, and I find that genuinely, even knowing what Celtic are like, I find that astonishing that they've pinned everything on Brendan Rodgers. That's clearly what they're trying to do here. And now that Brendan Rodgers has been pushed or has gone himself or whatever, they're kind of hoping that everyone will kind of read into that and blame the rat again. Yeah. And listen, Brendan Rodgers is not perfect, and he does kind of put himself first, and he clearly does have an ego, but what manager doesn't really at that kind of level? But I think Brendan Rodgers wanted the betterment of Celtic Football Club, and I know we don't know the ins and outs, and there's clearly been something's badly gone wrong here, but I mean that statement is very lengthy, and at the start it says I want to acknowledge his contribution, and then the rest of it is a hit piece on Brendan Rodgers. Like, it's some of the language there is is remarkable.
It's the bit that gets me is, in fact, my pal Andy has just highlighted the bit that I was like, laughing at. Every pound generated by the club is reinvested towards those goals and the continuous improvement of Celtic Football Club, which is why we've got a guy who is a free agent up front that had a pre-season. Aye, very good. Which is why the stadium is crumbling and falling to bits. Yeah, okay, very good as well. Oh man, that's so embarrassing, man. Like, I get it. Some people out there absolutely hate Brendan Rodgers. Look, see, in the last 3 weeks, I've got to say, man, my feelings towards him were getting very strong. Like, getting into this, he was actually turning me away for Celtic Park with the way he was acting and the team he was putting out and the results too. But see anybody like reading that, thinking, oh, Dermot Desmond's got the best interests of Celtic at heart. He's definitely not protecting himself and the rest of the board. He's definitely doing this for the benefit of Celtic supporters and telling them the truth. Like, give yourself a shake. I'd like to think there's people out there, the majority of people out there reading that will see through it, because he's essentially just said, well, we're great, I'm brilliant, and the rest of the board are brilliant. We've done our job. The manager's been out of order. Except for the times that he actually was able to deliver trophies. We were brilliant, and that was really all down to us. But see the feelings, that's all him. Nah, I'm not having that at all. Like, for all, I've criticised Brendan Rodgers, and I will continue to criticise Brendan Rodgers. No, I'm not buying that at all. That is cowardly as anything, and it is really just pandering to people out there that believe everything they read. I wouldn't believe anything that Dermot Desmond or anybody in the board put out. Look at their statement a couple of weeks ago, Saturday night. Remember that one? This is like, it's just embarrassing. You know, they put that.
It's worse. They've done the unthinkable, and they've actually put out a worse statement than that Saturday night thing, and they're calling Brendan Rodgers a liar in there, effectively, which, you know, is mad. I mean, we're in a bad way as a football club if this is what's going on, and still there's no responsibility there at all. Like, they still just don't get it.
See that bit there, that every member of the board is deeply passionate about Celtic and acts with professionalism at all times, which is why that every time the camera's been on them, they've been on a phone, even watching the game when we're getting beat, not showing any humility or integrity there at all, or, you know, like looking as if they actually care about what's happening and what the rest of the fans are going through. Like, any time I've seen that board on TV or whatever this season, when the camera's panned to them, it's pretty much just been laughing and no acting in the best interest of anyone at the club. I'm not buying that. I thought it's so cowardly.
Why is Dermot Desmond the one that's coming out? Why he's not even a majority shareholder. He's principal. Where's Michael Nicholson in all this? Where is the comments from Michael Nicholson, who's just lost the manager, the first team manager? I mean, as I said a minute ago, I mean, even more so now, but Brendan Rodgers needs to give an interview and needs to go back to that, and that is going to be box office, assuming he's not signed like an NDA or something like that.
I know, like that whole the Dom Mackay thing, isn't it? Like, everybody wanted to know what was happening there. This is obviously substantially more significant than that, but please tell me he's not signed anything like that. I'd love Brendan to come out and give an interview to one of his pals in the media, especially one of the unscheduled BBC ones again.
Okay, we might return to this. We'll probably go for another 20 minutes or so. Thoughts on the kind of current state of affairs, and Martin O'Neill, who is a legendary Celtic manager. And I know you're laughing, Stephen. We had a good laugh before. Can we just make it clear that there is no laughter here towards Martin O'Neill? Because we love Martin O'Neill. He's an incredible manager for Celtic. He was an incredible manager for Celtic 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And I'm aware that this is an interim thing. We'll see how long. Martin O'Neill is 73 years old now. Martin O'Neill's last job was, I think, a relatively short spell at Nottingham Forest in 2019. And he's coming back to Celtic, 20 years, more than 20 years on from leaving. The thought of that to me kind of sums up the imagination of the board. I think I actually said this. I don't know if it was here or on the Celtic Way or maybe just in real life. But I'm sure I said, I think it was in the group chat actually, I said they'll probably appoint Strachan or O'Neill if Rodgers goes, because there was I think COVID season, was that like the solution? I think it came out at one point during the COVID season that they were going to get rid of Lennon and look at O'Neill or Strachan, because that's kind of what they do. They have this lack of imagination, and Dermot will want one of his guys back in. And I know it might only be for a few games, but I think that sums it all up, to be honest, that 73-year-old Martin O'Neill's going to be managing us on Wednesday against Falkirk. And as I repeat, nothing against Martin O'Neill.
Yeah.
We love Martin O'Neill.
Yeah, he's a
you love him more than me.
He's a talk sport legend. Don't worry about that. No, look, it's nothing against Martin O'Neill at all. For everything that you said, he gave me the best memories of supporting Celtic. But it just does, again, just like we do with players, feels very much as if we've just went, who do we know, who's in the phone book? Fancy helping us out. And do you know what worries me? Remember when Lennon went in February 2021 after Ross County, we were told it would be John Kennedy for a few games and we were going to be getting a new manager in immediately, as soon as possible. We managed to drag that out. No, it was January, I think he went, actually, wasn't it, 2021? And then we managed to drag that out for like 5 months with the Eddie Howe thing. So Kennedy got the rest of the season. And then obviously the Eddie Howe saga happened, and we did get a bit of luck with Ange Postecoglou. Will we get that luck again? I don't know. Will they be serious and professional this time when conducting a managerial search? I've got no faith in them. Look at how they facted this summer. They knew what was on the line when it came to Champions League qualification. They knew what was needed. Had to freshen up that squad. Just had to give the manager some funds. And we'd probably be talking about like Champions League football this season, getting past Kaidat Almaty. They neglected to do that. So there's nothing with this board whatsoever with their actions this season that makes me think they're going to do a good job and they're going to get this right. Like, I think they'll try and wing it again, and they can't this time. They have got to get this one spot on, because this is a real pivotal moment for us, not just this season, but beyond, because we have got some rebuild next season with the players that are going to be coming in, especially because we're going to be needing to replace like a good 6 or 7 players, I'd say, like top players that have done it over the years for us too, Hamish. So it's very, I mean, again, nothing against Martin O'Neill. Wednesday's going to actually be interesting now, which I didn't think I'd be saying. It's actually going to be worth getting along to. But yeah, I'm more interested to see what they do as well beyond that, because it can't just be another case of, we'll see if he'll be interested. He's already managed this before.
Yeah, I mean, do we get a new manager bounce from Martin O'Neill? I think there's possibly a chance of that. Sean Maloney in there as well. Martin O'Neill famously doesn't really do coaching, doesn't really appear in the training ground. So sorry, I can't believe it's 2025 and I'm talking about Martin O'Neill managing Celtic. It's absolutely mental. But Martin O'Neill's going to be managing Celtic in a derby on Sunday. Has he got another derby win in him, do you think?
Well, let's just make me laugh even more before I answer that. Like the training methods at the time and everything, and the culture at the club back then. Like, remember you had the guy, the worst trainer in the worst trainer of the week had to wear like a yellow t-shirt, and they were ridiculed and everything. Imagine that happening now with the way players are. But it's not even that. I think Martin O'Neill did encourage a bevy culture as well. A lot of players would be out in the town and all that, like week to week after a game, like, especially midweek and all that as well. Lennon was talking about it. So
yeah,
it'd be incredible if you just say to some players, just go get bevied after training, just make sure that you're all right and fit for Saturday. That'd be some buzz, like the old Cluffy days. But talking about them, do we get a buzz and a lift from it? Maybe, but I mean, what I'm more interested to know what style is he going to deploy, because under Celtic in the 2000s, he was able to play that 3-5-2, and it was a really physical, direct, aggressive team who thrived in set pieces and long balls, and we had the genius of Henry Larsson, like we've not getting anywhere near the likes of him. We've not really got a lot of physical players either that thrive on direct attacking play, set pieces, corners a lot. We've not got players like that. So what's he going to do? I don't understand.
It'll surely be kind of he can't be kind of implementing his own style with the 3-5-2 that he kind of played at times. I think like he's as much as it's not been working recently, it's got to be kind of similar kind of way of playing with his own thing put in, and just hope that having the players listening to a new voice or a couple of new voices, because Sean Maloney as well, hopefully that gives them something new. So that's Wednesday night against Falkirk, Derby and Sunday, and we've then got, I think, Midtjylland and Kilmarnock, and then we're into another international break. So I'm kind of feeling like it might be O'Neill and Maloney for those 4 games. We've got an unnamed friend who you can probably guess who he is, a legend of a guy, and he said this is all manufactured for Maloney to come in, win a few games, be endorsed by O'Neill and get the job on a permo. And I mean, it's definitely a view I think a lot of people will be having, given what Celtic are like in our history with appointing managers and showers and all that. That's something that can't happen here, regardless of how this interim period goes. We can't have Martin O'Neill as our permanent manager. We can't have, Sean Maloney as our permanent manager, Neil Lennon, Scott Brown. This has to be, in my mind anyway, an external appointment, someone with no history of Celtic. There's one exception there, and I'll be totally honest, and people will know what I'm going to say. And by the way, he's not going to come back, Big Ange. He's not going to take the job, because he won't want to go back somewhere. He's never done it before in his career. He'll want to look forward and go somewhere where he's kind of starting from scratch again and doesn't have any baggage. That's what he likes, a real challenge. I'm pretty certain Ange wouldn't come back. I'd love to be wrong. Because as much as, and I know there'll be an argument we need to push forward and look at other managers, and I agree with that, but Ange is the one exception, just because I love the guy so much and I loved those years. Should we ask the question of Ange at the very least, and do you think the club will?
Yes, because he's managed this before and it's an easy option, so yes, they might ask the question. Like you, I don't think Ange is a guy that tends to look back the way. I think once he's done his time at a club, moves forward and looks for new opportunities. He just strikes me as that kind of guy that doesn't do that, where it's like, yeah, I had great times there before, but he probably cherishes the memory and looks to try and create new ones, I'd love to be wrong. I would love him back in a minute. I mean, it's funny you were saying that, because the way we were going to be doing this before this news broke, like, I was actually, earlier on today, you're going to call me a saddle with no life, but I was watching one of our old videos on the old channel after we beat Rangers 2-1 at Ibrox, and it was just
again, you're allowed to name it, Stevie. It's not Dermot Desmond in the collective here. You're allowed to name them.
No, I was watching that, right, and I was just like looking at some of those videos we did, and Christ, like how happy we were, like weekly. It was a real purpose we were given with Celtic then. Love getting behind the team, and it was just really joyful, amazing times. And the 2 years under Ange Postecoglou were special. They really were. And then when Brendan came in, there's been moments where we've had where we've been on the cusp of that, but there's just been like sort of overall nothing like the Ange Postecoglou days. I would love it if Celtic did at least ask the question, then there was speculation just to get excited there. And I know some people say they hated the way he left, and I wasn't a fan of it either. I could understand it because a bigger sort of league came calling, not a bigger club exactly, but certainly a bigger league came along. He wanted to test himself. Fine, we've seen players do that, so I expected managers to do that with Celtic, I'd love it, but like you, I can't see it. But yeah, as Ange just to say, we can always dream, Hamish.
Right, you've been doing some extensive research looking at managers who are available at the moment, so be prepared for this, everyone. Give us the full list, Stevie. Not the full list, but give us a list.
Well, why don't I shout something, you can say take or leave or something? Is that a shout?
Okay. Is Russell Martin going to be included?
Oh, well, he's a Celtic legend, why not? Okay, let's go with, Gary Southgate.
No.
Right, okay. Xavi?
100%, but he's not coming anywhere near us.
Okay, interesting one. Marco Rosa?
without knowing what he's really been up to, where was he most recently? Because I would take Marco Rosa, yeah.
Okay, right. I won't actually go through the whole list because there's like I don't know 60 or something. But here's my choice. All right, good Brexit man. What about big Samuel Allardyce? Imagine that. Mike Bassett stuff for it. 4-4-2. End off. Ben
No.
Spencer and Hedges up front. Right, a couple more. We've got what's he says? Bruno Lager, I think it is. Bruno Lager.
Is he at Wolves? Former Wolves manager? Again, I don't know enough about him. I'm very limited in my footballing ability. It's kind of Celtic and Scottish football.
He was at Benfica up until most recently. Right, okay, I'll go with him. And another that's quite realistic shout who's achieved great things with PSV in the past is Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Don't mind. Although, he was assistant at Leicester, wasn't he? Oh, no, he managed Leicester, didn't he, last season, get them relegated?
I get the to it.
Yeah. What, I mean, the same names, that guy at Bodo is going to come up again, but there's something that he doesn't really want to leave them. What about like the names we were linked with last time? Because a lot of the managers ended up doing quite well. Like Kieran McKenna, I think, could be an option. He's with Ipswich. I know he got them promoted and relegated. I think I've not really checked, but I think they're kind of mid-table in the Championship this season. But he seems like a Dermot kind of guy. I think I heard some rumours about Roberto Martinez, but he's still at Portugal, isn't he? So that would kind of more be a summer thing, potentially after the World Cup. So that kind of seems unlikely. But yeah, I mean, yeah, and if it's another kind of Ange appointment, is there another one out there? What about Kev Muscat, the former Rangers player? Yeah,
can't see. I mean, that would be some laugh apart, but I couldn't see that. There's Steven also Gerrard was imagine get that wee tax issue sorted. There's as it as well. Michael Carrick, he's coming up here as well.
Yeah, I don't know enough about him. Did you see the thing posted on Twitter from your famous TalkSport 8 hours ago? The headline is Martin O'Neill backs Hearts to win the SPFL over Celtic and Rangers. And now he's managing us. Jesus Christ. Oh, have I woken up here? Am I still asleep, Stevie? Is this what's happened? I'm going to wake up in a couple of minutes and then I'm going to message you and we're going to do a video and talk about, Brendan Rodgers and what happens next at Celtic and can we get a reaction under Brendan Rodgers? That's what happened here. I'm still asleep. That's it. Sound. Oh no, it's reality. Jeez.
Keep doing that anyway. It's good to see. It's good to see. Questions for you here is, what's the more dramatic exit? The one in 2019 or this one? Are they both at the same level? Because I was expecting Rodgers to maybe get the game against Rangers, probably lose that, and then he would be asked to leave the club. But didn't expect it tonight before the game on Wednesday. So yeah, for me, they're probably both. It's a tie, really. Both his exits have been totally stunning and right out of the blue. I did not expect them.
Yeah, it's easy at the moment, I think, to say like that was totally mad what we've just witnessed tonight. That's crazy. But the departure to Leicester was mad as well at the time. Very kind of similar, I think. Was the Leicester stuff early in the morning we found out, or was that late at night at first? Late
at night.
Was it? And I remember the next day he then went down to Leicester, and I think we were playing Hearts maybe that night or the day after, and Neil Lennon obviously came to the rescue and was the manager. That was mad as well. I think it's pretty equal. He certainly doesn't do kind of easy departures from Celtic, does he? I mean, genuinely though, it's two of the maddest probably the two maddest departures in our history, because as a club we don't tend to have big departures. Tommy sack managers, really.
Tommy Burns was a big one in '97. That was huge when Tommy Burns was left and fans were at Celtic Park. I remember it as a wee boy at the time. But you're right. Two very dramatic exits from Brendan, and very memorable too. I remember the first one in 2019. I was stunned because I got the news on my phone when I was playing Resident Evil 2 remake, and I was quite far into it and nearly completed it genuinely. And now this one tonight, I've got it for you, as we were about to talk about Hearts humbling us, and we had to just completely rethink our strategy. A lot like Celtic should be doing.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're in a bit of trouble here when you've got a statement like that going out from Dermot Desmond. There's a lot wrong at the club. The club, the board can't take responsibility. They still feel they're doing everything right and that it's the fault of other factors. And it's kind of in keeping with that Saturday night statement, the fact that Dermot Desmond has blamed everything on Brendan Rodgers. And I think it's only going to amp up the collectives movement and the feeling that change is needed at the club. I think, that's kind of one issue for me. The other issue is, as a team, does what's happened tonight in its entirety mean we're in a better or worse place to get something from this season? And personally, I feel, and obviously this is without knowing exactly what the long-term managerial plan is, and assuming that fear doesn't come to light and it's not Sean Maloney or Martin O'Neill who gets it permanently, which is no given with Celtic or Neil Lennon or whoever. But I do feel... One, at least it's a bit of excitement. And I know it's not the excitement we want. Our manager resigning, that's not the excitement we want. But at least it's going to kind of invigorate everyone. And at least Wednesday night now, as you say, I mean, you've literally said it in a nutshell, you weren't going to go and now you are. So a lot of people like you will be feeling the same way. Wednesday night is now interesting. We're going to have a new man in the dugout. We're going to at least have a bit of excitement. We'll see if the team responds to that. And then beyond then, we're going to appoint someone permanently who can hopefully get more of a tune out of this struggling squad. And maybe, just maybe, some sort of kind of, not going to be a better transfer strategy because all the issues there are still there, but maybe there was an issue, there clearly was an issue with Brendan Rodgers and recruitment as well, that the board didn't trust him or whatever, for whatever reason. And hopefully getting a new manager in can somehow help that, because the one thing I would say, and I know Ange is a kind of, this incredible figure, but we didn't seem to have the same recruitment issues under Ange Postecoglou. Basically, and I'm waffling here, I'm well aware I'm waffling, everyone. It gives me, I think, a little bit more hope that this season is salvageable. Without knowing the route Celtic are going to go down with the next manager, I think with Brendan Rodgers as our manager, not being able to motivate that squad clearly. I brought the graphic up yesterday about our win percentage and all of that from the year, and this is over a long period of time. At least now, I think we have a chance. And God, imagine we get some sort of good appointment everyone can get behind and start winning some games. Let's go and get Hearts. Let's go. We're only 8 points behind. Let's deal with Rangers as well. And maybe, just maybe, this season could be successful, when previously I felt there was no chance of Brendan Rodgers turning it around. Give me your thoughts on that and then we'll head off.
We've got to use this as a moment to really just reignite our season, I would say. And you're right, the way it was going, I didn't have any faith in us capitalising even on any potential drop points by Hearts. I thought we were going to be dropping more in the next sort of 2-3 weeks, especially after the international break. Now, if we get a good manager in place, hopefully we get the team sort of fit and firing again, and maybe attitudes will change. Like Brendan had these, had these problems, didn't he, with the boy Simpson Pewter that came in, Yamada and Amura. Maybe now, now players in the squad who are restricted are maybe feeling as if, I'm never going to get a chance here. Or even like Benjamin Negrin, who I don't know if the manager knew where his favourite position was, and
Paulo Bernardo.
Yeah, exactly. Good shout, mate. And maybe even Arne Engels as well, who obviously was out the side for so long, had a good game against Sturmgras and then seemed to regress again on Sunday. Maybe he'll be played differently now. So look, the way I see it now is it's a new lease of life for the players. Let's hopefully see the guys that have been unfancied and not in the team getting a chance, and maybe they can be the difference for us going forward this season. But we have to really look at this as really it has to kick on when we get a proper manager in place, because Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney for the next 4 games, fine. cannot go on any longer than that. Can't stress that enough.
Yeah, I agree.
We can't be doing a video after the international break, and it's a case of Celtic coming out saying, "Oh, by the way, we're going to have to maybe look at this in 2026 because there's been problems." Like they have to see the international break when like a lot of people say that is downtime for people at the club. Like they have to be working. They have to be working like they have to be working 24/7 as it is now. But they have to have somebody ready to go for after that international break so we can start moving forward with our season. Because I can't stress enough, Martin O'Neill and Maloney just have to be 4 games. Hopefully we can. I can't see us getting anything in Denmark. Hampden's a 50-50, I'm sorry to say. But hopefully we can just get like 6 points in the league. That's what I'm aiming for. Win against Falkirk, win against Kilmarnock, keep the pressure on Hearts. Anything else is a bonus, really. That's the way I see it. And after that,
get a new manager in and win this league.
After that, new manager, focus on the league, and let's start seeing what these players are made of after they win a new lease of life, mate.
Just very final thought. I mean, I've seen it pointed out by a few people online that the points made by Dermot Desmond in that lengthy statement I read out, were quite similar to some of the points in that Scottish Sun piece on Brendan Rodgers a few weeks ago. It might just be that that's a feeling that was shared by those in the boardroom, because I think a lot of people had felt that it was Peter Law. But interesting. God, what a wild night, Stevie. Is there anything calmer you can tell us about anything you've been doing recently in your life? Oh, you'll be doing a gig pod as well, won't you? Will there be an emergency gig pod?
Yeah, I have to be one tomorrow, right? Rizzo's going to have to be up for it. Don't worry about that. So me and I will have to get together for that. I'm sure Rizzo will already be thinking about his next action, a protest anyway, seeing that he's never
going
leaving
down to London again.
Never leaving somebody else to do it, and he's such a forward-thinking guy. So so we'll do that tomorrow. But crazy night. I didn't expect us, and it's been a really raw reaction because I guess we had something else planned, but you can't really ignore something of this magnitude. And to reiterate, that board really have to get this one right, because the protests and everything, or the ill feeling around the club doesn't just stop just because Brendan Rodgers is away. Like they are still a massive source of the problem. So I just hope that they don't think this is a case of everything's all right now. That's a real issue sorted. Like they've caused all this, so they have to start putting it right with a managerial appointment to replace Brendan Rodgers now.
And we've got a game tomorrow, so I'm assuming that means press conference today. I don't know if that will still happen, if we'll have Martin O'Neill unveiled or in front of the media, or I know it's wild stuff in 2025. But Martin O'Neill, wish him all the best, and if he, his reputation isn't going to be lessened at all if this doesn't go badly, because we're going to remember him for the amazing times that he brought us. It can only be strengthened in my mind, and if he finds a way to motivate this team to beat Rangers on Sunday, it's just another amazing Martin O'Neill memory. I know that this video is going to go big, I know that, because it's obviously huge news. So I just want to take another opportunity. If you're new to the channel, please stick around. We do videos virtually every morning, about 5 or 6 a week. They tend to go out at 7 a.m. In the morning, of course. 7 a.m. is in the morning. And yeah, we're going for 18,000 subscribers. So please click that button and get us there. Stevie, is there one final bombshell you've got for us?
There is. It's a rumour. Do you want to hear it? But it comes from, is it no, what's his face? The guy in Eddie Pearson. Who is that again? That's the guy on Celtic Underground, isn't it?
Yes.
Basically says there's a rumour Nicholson is going and the Leicester CEO is coming in. So, again, I just wanted to get that out there for your reaction to that. But listen, any news that somebody for that board is leaving, somebody in a position like Michael Nicholson is leaving, welcome to me. Good riddance, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay, be back first thing tomorrow. Who knows what will have happened by then? We'll have a Falkirk game to build up to, but I sense we'll be talking more about other things. Stevie, appreciate you coming on. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll chat to you soon.